Yo, 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 and welcome back to another podcast episode. We're now called Logically Fit. Very exciting.
So confusing. I forget sometimes.
Yeah, I know. It's also our third name. People are like, what's the name of your podcast now? I'm just like, I don't know. It's whatever the fuck we feel. No, it's Logically Fit. I think this one's going to stay. I'm really happy with this name. It really just describes what we're trying to do here. Right. We recently just had a podcast guest, which we'll announce that soon. Aram, really cool dude, been in the industry for a long period of time. Really great episode. Definitely highly suggest listening to that when it comes out. But one of the big topics that we're talking about is one of the big mistakes that a lot of people make is that they just make extremely emotional decisions, like fear-based and emotional decisions. Logically Fit, I think it fits perfectly just because we want people to make more educated decisions. We want them to be more confident in their decisions. And what we see is that a lot of people struggle with those emotions driving their actions. And how many times have our emotions not always been reality? And so bringing in knowledge, bringing in facts allows us to take a step back and realize, hey, how I'm feeling is totally okay, but doesn't mean it has to drive my actions. Let me take a step back and look at this logically. So
It's not just making a logical or an educated decision. I feel like the more knowledge you have, it allows you to have ownership, right?
yes.
I was just talking with a member of our gym, Rachel, if you're listening.
Not your wife, Rachel. Another
No,
Rachel.
we have like 4 at the gym.
Jeez, that's confusing.
And she like potentially injured her knee really badly. And she was like, I don't want to go to the doctor because I'm too afraid to find out. Right. And it's like, I get that. Right. We talk about that with clients who want to get blood work sometimes, that it's like the intention of potentially hearing bad news is really scary. But as long as you know, you can at least take ownership. Right. It's like, hey, I know I'm not making the best decision right now, and now I can be okay with it, right? It's like, I know if I have 2 Costco pizzas on the weekend, because, your boy's lazy sometimes, Saturday, Sunday. I'm very well aware that Monday might not be the best day in terms of gut health, in terms of how I feel. Like if I want a PR on Monday, my back squat, I should probably not eat 2 Costco pizzas Saturday, Sunday. Right? But if I wouldn't know, now I would panic, freak out, right? At least now I can take ownership just because I have more knowledge, and it helps me not derail, helps me not sabotage myself.
Yeah.
So
Self-sabotage. Yeah, that's a big thing. And also, I think another big problem that we have in the fitness industry is that what's marketed out there is typically things that are very easy to put out to make a lot of money. But when it comes to figuring out what works best for you in terms of your health and your nutrition specifically, fitness tends to be a little bit easier, right? You can still get really great results from a template fitness program that a lot of other people are using. But when it comes to nutrition and health, like it's a whole nother ball game. Getting personalized is what people need to figure out what works for them long term. But most people are trying anything and everything and falling for anything and everything. And then they're so they're so frustrated being like, I'm just broken. Nothing's ever going to work for me, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, and I'm saying this with all the love. I was there. I was there. I was struggling with it. I had the same struggles, but it wasn't that was broken. I guess it was, but it was my thought process was broken. I needed to take ownership and start informing myself, educating myself, gaining the knowledge that I needed to figure out what worked best for me. So I stopped being so frustrated with things not working. I could be like, no, that does not work for me because I have the knowledge. I educated myself about that. There's so many different ways to do this thing. There's no one perfect way. There's no one perfect program. There's no one perfect diet or template or anything. Everybody is extremely different. And so it's up to us. Like it's our responsibility to take a step back and learn what works best for us. So that way we stop getting frustrated and we can actually live our life the way that we want. So, but you know what? I think that was a really great rabbit hole that we normally do. But as always, dun, 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 welcome to the podcast, rabbit holes left and right. Pew, pew. But let's get to the real topic that we're talking about today, which is how to eat healthy on a budget.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Okay, the reason why I got this idea is because you know how I do that broadcast channel in my Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which, by the way, if you're listening right now and you're not in there, go in there. I put so like, I just let you guys ask all the questions, and I'm like pouring all the information.
You're
Like
so lucky that you're the only one who can type in there, because I swear to God, it's like I heart everything.
you do.
Yeah, if I could type in there, I totally would, but it's like I can't, so I just heart everything.
I mean, I can make you a collaborator. I think. I think I can have you start commenting, but I'm pretty sure you're going to start doing shit in there and like
No,
teasing me.
no,
That's what I'm afraid of.
no.
It's like sending middle finger emojis all the time. But like, yeah, if you're listening, go ahead and go into the broadcast channel. I put so much in there. Like, we're going to start doing giveaways soon as well. Special opportunities are going to be coming to you guys. If you're not in the broadcast channel, you won't get at it. Like we're coming up with new services that we want to give a try, but we need a little bit more feedback before we really put it out there. So we're going to be doing it to that channel, just asking some people to get free help in return for some feedback. So if you're ever interested in that, go in there too. But in the broadcast channel, I did a Q&A on Friday. No, I usually do the questions Thursday, and I either answer them Friday or Saturday, just depending on the time that I have. But one of the questions was like, how do I eat healthy, like this whole lean protein, like whole grains, nutrient dense foods on a budget? It seems very, very expensive. And so I was given some tips out there, but like as I went, it's like, damn it, I should have added this. I should have added this. So I just went in there. I'm like, screw this. Like, we're doing a podcast episode on this because I'm coming out with like 5 billion different ideas. So here we are popping up on the podcast, talk about that. But I mean, we're going to give some practical like advice on this, obviously. I'll also give some personal experience of what worked best for me.
I was about to say I have a ton.
Yeah.
Being a two-sport college athlete, having
Yeah.
my like body measurements, all of that kind of stuff, working with like having that all evaluated multiple times a year while being a broke ass college student.
Yes. Yeah. Also, I got experience through that for I was a weight class athlete, so you have to be a certain weight class in order to compete. If you don't weigh in, you don't compete. So that's the number one thing with that sport. So I'd always have to be on weight. So I'd always have to be tracking my food. I'd always have to be eating super, super healthy. I was also broke too. Like weightlifting did not pay and it took up all my time. I was a full-time athlete. And so like I significantly remember a couple of years living in a 1-bedroom apartment with no furniture, being in debt with an air mattress on the floor. And I went shopping I couldn't even afford things at Dollar Tree. There was a cheaper supermarket near me that was even cheaper than Dollar Tree that I shopped at. And I got everything there from there. So we've gotten a lot of tips over the years that we can help you do that. And we'll go from there. So let's dive right into it. Okay. Toby, what would you be your first advice?
Ooh. I have to preface, any of the ones that I name are in no particular order. They're of no more importance than the other. Because I think in the end, we probably have some advice that we share, and then some things that work for you, some things that work for me that don't work for each other. So take these and apply them as you will.
Yeah.
But,
again, be the CEO of your health. Like, just know not all of these are going to apply to you. Some of these you're going to try and some of them are going to work or not work. Again, it's all, I tell this to my clients a lot. It's all about fucking around and finding out. Just try things. There's no pressure. There's no end date, right? There's no finish line. Just try things, see if it works. If it does, stick with it. If it doesn't, throw it out. So
yeah, I think the first thing is planning and preparing, right? Like plan in your meals, know what you're going to eat each week. And this can be based on what's on sale. It can be what is in season, right? It helps you reduce waste. It makes sure that your money is going where it's supposed to go first. But then make a list. Make a list based on the meals that you have prepared. And stick to that list. So many times when we're going to the grocery store, the stuff that we buy that ends up in our shopping cart are impulse buys, right? And I think there was a study done that we're like not only consuming % more calories if I go grocery shopping hungry, for example. But if I have a list and I know what I'm going to buy, I'm actually going to spend significantly less money. right? Buy what you need for the week. That's it.
Exactly. I can't stress this enough. Like, how many times have I gone to Trader Joe's or Costco or something like that without a list? I'm just like buying all the things. And then I go home and I don't use them. They either go bad or end up throwing them out because I just don't use them. And I want to get space for the things that I am using. So yeah, I think the other thing is that when you pre-plan, you're going to have the foods that you need in order to eat at home, right? Like people get really confused by this because they're like, hey, like I'm spending so much money on the food that I'm eating. When you take a step back and you zoom out and you take a look at your expenses, for most people, okay, not all, but for a lot of people out there, when you take a zoom out and you look at all of your expenses, yes, you're spending more money at that one point, like getting that grocery bill, like it's all right there, totaled up. But when you're unprepared and you don't have food ready, and you're busy or tired or you have a family to feed, how many times do you go out to eat or you order in or you buy convenient foods from the gas station? Now, total that whole thing up. I was looking at the numbers. Those who do not regularly meal prep at home, typically, when you zoom out, spend anywhere from 2 to 5 times as much money than those that actually prep at home.
Oof, over what time frame?
It didn't specify.
Oh.
It didn't specify. That's on me. We can dive into that if we need to change, like add to this, we can. But it was about 2 to 5 times. And I can totally attest to this. Like I didn't realize, I remember this. So this is something that we do like with our clients sometimes is a budget audit. Because a lot of times a stressor for a lot of people is money. How can I find the money to pay for my health? Like I need to be doing all these things. How do I pay for it? And so part of it is just like understanding what are your true priorities. If you're really trying to be healthy, this isn't just learning how to eat healthy. It's also learning how to prioritize your health because your actions reflect your prioritization. If your actions have not been following, I'm the person that knows what to do, but just doesn't do it. For some people, it's just a lack of prioritization. So how do you act like a person that prioritizes that? Well, a lot of times you have to shift your budget because you don't have a limited amount of money. So where can you allocate some of the money of things that are smaller rocks, like, hey, like I spend money on my nails, I spend money on this. Like for us specifically, Calvin and I, like we don't have fancy cars. Like I paid out of pocket for my car, so I don't have monthly car payments, right? Like we live in a very, very affordable apartment. Like we don't live above our means. We don't spend like I spend a lot of money on clothes from Amazon instead of going to like brand names like Lululemon, all that stuff. Like, could I do that? Yes, but my health is more important, right? You'll spend money on things that you to prioritize. And so that's the first thing is, are you spending money on things that are not prioritization? So that's super helpful with the budget audit. But also you zoom out and you see what you spend your money on. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that. Not too many people are very responsible with their money. I know I have periods of my time where I'm better than others. And so I had that one time where I did a budget audit. I was like, well, I spent this much money on like takeout and like, and the little things that add up, like getting an energy drink here and there instead of like buying it at bulk at like Costco or like buying coffees at coffee shops. Like I just started making coffee at home. Like you just, again, it's that ownership, that awareness. Where am I spending that money? So again, like preparing ahead of time. A lot of people are like, but it takes time and effort. I'm like, no, it doesn't. At first, if you're not good at it, it will.
I mean, it does, right? But
it
the
doesn't.
measure,
it doesn't.
But the measure that you have to take at that point is, what's your hourly rate, right? How much money do you make an hour? Or if you're self-employed, how much money do you think your time is actually worth? Now, take the time that it takes you to meal prep and factor that against how many meals do you actually get done within that time. Like if I meal prep, I food prep, which means like I like organize my fruits before I put them away. I cut up certain things. Like I will cut if I have sweet potato, I cut that in cubes, put it in a little bit of water so that it stays fresh, but I don't cook it because I like the experience of cooking foods. But if I meal prep for an hour, right? I have the grill running, I have the oven going, I cut up some foods. I can probably get lunch and dinner for the entire week done, right? Let's say that's 10 to 14 meals. So in 1 hour, right? So how much money would it cost you to get takeout 10 to 14 times compared to that 1 hour of time that you invested. Right?
That's a good way to do that.
If that amount of money is worth more than what you would have made within an hour, your time is better spent meal prepping, so that you don't spend the time during the week and you can dedicate more time at your job, for example. Now, some people may be big ballers, right? And where that doesn't apply, and getting takeout might be for you, right? You might be better off taking that time and making money than prepping food. But for most people, let's just say it as it is.
If you're on a budget, if you're balling on a budget, that's it. Yeah, 100%. And then you take in consideration of like how much time and money do you spend driving to like takeout places? How much time and money are you spending in terms of like so many different aspects that go into it. Again, it's like everybody's so zoom focused on that one instant moment. But when you actually zoom out, you see the actual consequences to those actions that if you do not prep at home, it actually costs you way more money and way more time in the long run than just simply planning that in your schedule. And again, if you're a newbie, just accept it. You're not going to be very good at it, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to have such a huge return in your investment. You've got to have that patience, because as soon like you put those repetitions in, you'll get better at that skill. Dude, I can meal prep for the week in no time at all. And it barely takes any brain power. I can do things while I'm doing it. Like, you learn all the tips and tricks. If you ever have any questions, hit us up, because Tobi and I have been doing this for a long time. And both him and I are very much, I do not have brain power. I don't even want to do it. I'm lazy. Like, Tobi, you like to actually cook, but you don't like to eat it because that takes too long. I don't like to cook, but I do like to eat it.
Well, I don't like to sit down and eat it. I like to do things like right now, right? It's like I made my lunch and I have my lunch with me.
What do you have there? It looks good.
I have some leftover chicken. So this is now, again, I food prep. So meals don't have to be fancy all the time, right? This probably goes seamlessly into my next tip is just seeing food or meals as what they are. It's fuel. It's meant to get you through the day, right? It's meant to support your goals. And if it does, it doesn't have to be fancy, right? I have a little bit of chicken. I have some crackers and some banana for my carbohydrates. I have a little bit of cheese and for my fat, and I have half an avocado for my fat, right? So it's like, if people like think about that, you would probably never handpick those things and make a meal out of them, right? But I have some fiber, I have some carbohydrates, I have some protein, I have some fat. I have everything I need, and it was all there. It took me no effort. Took me, I don't know, like while the chicken was heating up, because there was leftover.
Yeah. And it's not even about the effort, it's about the money. I think if somebody is willing to put a little bit more, that's the other thing, is if you're trying to save money, you're going to have to put a little bit more effort in it. Yeah. Right. Because some of the foods that you're paying for that are a little bit more convenient and require less effort may potentially cost a little bit more.
100%.
So it's a little bit of weighing the pros and cons with that. But also, like, when you think about this, a lot of times when people go online to try to eat healthy, they see these recipes that require 15 like different ingredients. Yeah, it's like all these different ingredients. I don't have the patience for that. But also, when you go and do this ingredient, you're like, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to get this meal plan. I'm going to go online and get all these meal plans and all these different things. And it requires all this list. Now you're going to grocery shopping for 5 billion different things. When in actuality, when you look at somebody who is healthy and does that consistently, majority of the time, they keep it very, very, very simple. Okay. For example, my morning breakfast is Greek yogurt, berries, chia seeds, nut butter, and then protein coffee. That's literally it. Right. Or my lunch was literally ground beef and a potato. Yep. And I put salt and pepper and a little bit of olive oil on it. Like, it was very, very simple. That doesn't mean you can't get fancy with it. Right. But just time it. Like, I have some clients that are like foodies. They love the taste of it. There's nothing wrong with that. What?
Who is it? Who isn't?
Yeah, I know. Well, there's some people like, I really don't care what my food tastes like. I really don't. Like,
but we still, at that point, we still enjoy.
Yeah, the experience.
100%, right? Yeah. So that's probably one of the biggest excuses. I may step on somebody's toes, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
But like, that I hear is, yeah, I would, but I don't like to, like, I'm a foodie. I need my food to taste good. It's like, it can from time to time, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
does it support your goals?
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that you can't add some like bomb seasonings or low calorie sauces or
Oh,
like a
yeah.
little bit of garnishes, like there here and there. Like I add parsley to things, I add cilantro, add basil, I get like seasonings. Like I go crazy with seasonings. Like you can make things taste good and still keep it simple. I actually really just love going to restaurants that just keep it super simple. I actually really do not like it when people make it super saucy or super flavored. I just feel like it for me personally, I think it ruins it. I really
Hmm.
do. I like farm to table restaurants that keep it very simple. I love things like sushi, things like that, because I can actually taste the food. I think that was a big transition. As I ate like a trash panda, my palate was completely different. It's just because it adapted to it. And as soon as I started eating healthier,
Hmm.
now I start enjoying the taste of food rather than
Hmm.
just eating just to eat. So that's another thing. But like, yeah, like keep it simple with your food. Of course, you can get fancy with it if that brings you joy, because I want you to look forward to your food. Nobody's going to be
Absolutely.
consistent at something if you're like, look at me eating plain tilapia and steamed broccoli again. Like, don't do that. But keep it simple. You don't need to do the crazy 5 billion different ingredients.
Hmm.
That costs more money in the long run, and it's very frustrating. You don't need to be doing that. So, like, pick and choose, get fancy every once in a while. Maybe it's like 2 nights a week. You get a little fancier with it. Like, I have some people that do HelloFresh because, in comparison to eating out, HelloFresh is actually cheaper for them. So, they do
Hmm.
HelloFresh 2 days a week. They do it with their family. It's pretty convenient. No more ingredients than they need to. They make it together. It's awesome. But the rest of the meals are pretty freaking simple. And that's what allows them to be consistent but stays within their budget. So it just depends. Ooh, I got one. I would say definitely buying fruits and vegetables frozen.
Yes, right.
1,000%.
It's not so right.
Mhm.
It's also on occasion, and
Ooh, yeah,
right,
I would say
like,
can
just
too.
absolutely, just because your fruit is or your food is frozen or canned doesn't mean that it's worse. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some that are,
Yeah.
right? Like, there are some things that just aren't great, like canned peaches and heavy syrup, right?
Yeah.
It's like that might not be the best thing if we're trying to eat healthy on a budget.
Yeah.
But there are tons of cost effective and nutritious alternatives to fresh produce,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. And I would even say, so like a lot of people are like, frozen fruits and vegetables, are they somehow quote unquote processed or not good for me? And I'm like, no, they're fantastic.
I mean,
Because,
they are processed
I mean,
because
technically, but they're like with the context of processed foods is
correct.
bad. Like, technically,
Yes,
you chop something that's processed. Technically,
right.
you make a smoothie. The blending is processing, freezing is processing. Again, like logic,
Hmm.
those are bullshit. But when you freeze when it's flash frozen the way it's supposed to be, that's freezing at its peak freshness. When you buy fresh produce, it's not bad by any means, but after a couple days, you see that it's starting to go bad and it's wilting. Well, the nutrient profile starts declining over a period of time. So when you buy frozen fruits and vegetables, it'll stay at its peak when it's frozen. So you don't have to deal with waste. You don't have to deal with throwing out a bunch of food that you don't eat. It's also pre-cut, pre-washed. Sometimes you can get some awesome seasonings and flavors. Like my favorite places to go grocery shopping for frozen fruits and vegetables are obviously Costco, because I love Costco. Trader Joe's is another one. Whole Foods has a really great options. I know I've been to Aldi. Aldi has some really great options there too. There's one more. I can't remember. Can you think of any more?
Well, it depends. It's like
Yeah.
there are so many better, like where we live, like way up in the north. So for my
Mhm.
gangsters from the north of the Midwest, we don't have most. Like we have Costco,
Mhm.
we have Aldi. Like we don't even have Hy-Vee. You
You
know, like
don't? Hy-Vee's got it's okay. Not all frozen fruits and vegetables are made the same, by the way. So if you
that's
try one
true.
that tastes like crap, trust me, there are some really great ones. Just keep trying.
Yes, it's
But it's
but
it's really
with
helpful.
now within the same store, right? Let's just say we go to Walmart
Mhm.
and there are 15 different things of something that's canned or frozen.
Mhm.
Buy the store brand. You don't have to buy the name brands.
That's a good one. Yes.
Store brands, more often than not, are the exact same, just cheaper. Like if I buy the name brand can of tuna, I'm spending like close to $2. If I just buy the store brand, it's like 69 cents. It's the same. It's the same stuff. Literally the same.
Exactly. 100%. And also I got another one. You do not have to buy organic.
No, it's you don't. Especially fruits and vegetables. There's actually studies, and if anybody wants to hop into the comments and debate, feel free to do so. But I have research to back this up. Most research is never all inclusive, right? So most fruits and vegetables that are organic are actually have not any different of a nutrient profile than non-organic. Now, I will go forth and say, if you can fork up a little bit more money to buy like a grass-fed type of meat or something that is antibiotic free or has a little bit less sodium water, like some chicken, like they're like super plump because they're injecting water into it. If you have a sensitive stomach, that may sit better with you. Like I know that like a super greasy ground beef, even though it's the cheaper version, it will not sit well with me.
I'll poop my pants.
Yes.
Sorry.
Right?
For those of you that are like, what? She said that. We talk about poop all the time with our clients.
Yes.
There's no such thing as TMI with us. Yeah. No, I cannot do that.
And now, if you are in that category and you can't afford the leaner option, you don't necessarily have to get meat.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and also it just depends. Like red meat right now, ground, like you're specifically talking about ground red meat. It's a little pricier nowadays. There are cheaper cuts. Like for example, you can do chicken, and even if you do chicken, like chicken breasts, it's a big thing. Everybody freaking loves chicken breast because it's probably the leanest cut out of all of them. And it's like a health craze. Everybody's been eating chicken breast. You've probably heard it 5 billion times. Eat chicken breast and broccoli, things like that. My favorite actual cut that is cheaper than chicken breast, but tastes way better, and the macros aren't much different at all. It's still extremely lean, is boneless, skinless chicken thighs.
I was about to say skinless. That's where all the fat's in. But you get a very similar nutrient profile if you just get chicken thighs.
Exactly. So it's like you don't have to buy red meat. There's other cuts that are cheaper. They're like, and again, you don't have to get chicken breast. I actually boycott chicken breast because I ate it so much when I was younger. I can't take it anymore. It is so dry. It does not taste good when you meal prep it. I will only do boneless, skinless chicken thighs now. And it tastes so freaking good. So much better.
And if you do like the more expensive cuts, use like coupons. Yeah. You know, like grocery stores send out in the mail coupons all the time.
Yeah.
Our local Cashwise actually they have a section in the refrigerated aisle. They call it 5 for 25. And you take 5 items and as long as they're marked 5 for 25, you spend dollars on it. And they have a certain portion, it's steak, right? So I'm buying steak for less than $5 a pound, right? And if you are feeding just like about a pound of any meat is roughly 100 grams of protein. So now you're supplementing that with some eggs in the morning, maybe a protein shake after you're working out, because I know that a protein supplement may be more money up front, but per serving, it's actually cheaper.
That was going to be my when you look at per serving, it's significantly cheaper. It does not go bad. It's easy on the go. Yeah, like 1,000%.
You add some beans, some lentils to your meals too. That's a ton of protein, right? Which is way cheaper than meat. And now you're sitting at 60 to 200 grams of protein easy, and you spend $20-$30 for the week.
Yeah, 100%. Right? Another thing is to add a little bit of protein. A lot of people don't consider milk. Milk has protein in it, and you can get the leaner kind, like the 0% or 1%. It does have a little bit of carbohydrates in there. And for those of you that are lactose intolerant, there are plenty of lactose-free versions of that have that protein still. You add that to your coffee instead of spending all that money on your fancy like coffee, like creamers and things like that too. Like I don't I don't do
Mm-hmm.
that. If anything, I add a scoop of protein powder to my coffee.
Yep.
It tastes great. Like I
Mm-hmm.
use Legion's, the cinnamon cereal one. Oh my God. I sometimes think it tastes better than like going out to a coffee shop. I have my Nespresso machine because I was like, I'm spending all this money going out to get coffee. I tried to do like a French press or something like that, but it wasn't good as my latte. So it's like, well, you know what? If I get an espresso in the long run, it's going to save me more money and more
Yeah,
time.
it's about we
And I
have
do
one
that there.
we have one too, because when
Yeah.
we for my last green card appointment, so our thing is when we're going on a road trip, we're stopping. We have a Starbucks that's literally right next to the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So we stop there, right? For just for the trip. And I ordered, and all I ordered was 2 coffees, and the order was, and I had one of those like feta wraps because I didn't eat for the day yet,
Mm.
and it was like 23 some, and I was at the speaker and I was like, no, you must have the order for the car behind me, like that can't be right. And they're like, no, it's 2 coffees and a wrap, right? And I said, yeah. They're like, yeah, 23 some. And in Minneapolis, we stopped at the mall and Nespresso was on sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did the math, and is it as cheap as making like French press, pour over, maybe like a Keurig? No.
Mm-hmm.
It's those are cheaper. Keurig is about 50 cents a cup. Nespresso is about $1. But I mean, you have an espresso. It
Yeah.
just
I tried the French press. I tried the other ones, and
it
I just
just
ended up
tastes
hating
better.
it and getting coffee more often because of
Like
it.
your Nespresso, probably with the barcode and the way they spin it and the way they prepare it, it probably tastes just as good as getting it from a coffee store. Like
It's sometimes better.
they do such a good job,
Yeah, they do.
right?
So it's like,
And
again, it's like another circumstance where we're saying like sometimes it's not the initial thing. It's zoom out and look at your actions. What does that total up? So for me, yes, I could spend money, or I could spend less money on something like a pour over or a Keurig, but I know me. I know my actions.
mhm,
I won't want to drink that. I will
yeah,
be more inclined to go to the coffee shop. So if I look at my actions and my budget over a period of time, I know that actually, knowing my tendencies, I should just buy the Nespresso and go with that because I'm probably going to save way more money in the long run. Again, it's like take that zoom out instead of
mhm.
just looking at that one moment there. Ooh, I've got another tip.
Let me guess. Proper storage containers.
No, that is a good one, but that wasn't what I thought you were going to get spot on because you know how much I talk about this one. Costco.
Yes.
Costco or Sam's Club. And the reason why we're bringing that up is because buying things in bulk can be super, super helpful. When you go to places like Costco and Sam's Club or things like that and buying things in bulk, it's going to be significantly cheaper in the long run. I'm not going to say every single thing in like Costco and Sam's Club is like cheaper than anywhere else. There are some things that are comparable to the prices around you. For example, we don't shop at produce there because there's a local farmers market that we can get produce cheaper than we do at Costco. So that's helpful. But like we buy things that we eat in bulk a lot. So like our proteins we buy there. We buy a lot of our fruits and vegetables, like frozen fruits and vegetables there, like frozen convenient or like more convenient foods that are healthy. We get them there as well. Like our nut butter, we get like this big jar of nut butter. It's ginormous. And we do the mixed one with like flaxseed, chia seed, almond, and like cashews. And it's like 2 or 3 times the size of a jar that you would get at something like Walmart and things like that. And you get it, try to get like like a normal smaller jar of almond butter at even at Walmart, and it's $12 freaking. I get this huge freaking jar of awesomeness for like I think it was like $7. It was cheap as hell. There's so many different ways to do that there. So it's so helpful, so helpful. And I know that a lot of people are like, hey, like I don't buy a lot of frozen fruits and vegetables like at things like Costco or Sam's Club because I just don't have a lot of room in the freezer. Here's my next big tip. It's a good segue. Okay. Again, like this is going to be a little bit more money in the moment, but save you significant amount of money in the long run. And that's going to be get yourself a deep freezer. It doesn't have to be a large one. I moved across the country probably about 2 or 3 times. Lived in I don't know how many apartments and a few houses, and I had a deep freezer that I had from college that I got, and I've had it. We just got rid of it. We just got rid of it, and we instantly regretted it. We're already thinking about getting another one. And that was like over 9 years, 9.5, 9, 10 years. We've had that thing, the same one. And it didn't take up much space. Even those that are like, hey, like I live in a studio, I like make room. If this is something that's a big deal, like make room, because it's going to save you a lot of money, because that's where you can put a lot of your frozen fruits and vegetables. And so if you are like a prepper and you like to prep for the whole week, like a food prepper, my suggestion to you is this is like one of the biggest hacks that saves us a lot of time and money. Because I'm very similar to Tobi. We food prep. We prep a little bit more. We do, like Calvin and I do like cooking, but we just don't have a lot of time to cook. And at night, we don't have any mental capacity whatsoever. We're both kind of like, let's just grab whatever's in the fridge and just like whip it together in like a pan or something like that. So we'll make protein in bulk. So like we'll make chicken. We'll make we make like these canned chicken salads. We like make a bunch of different things in bigger containers, and then we'll just individually portion it out. But with protein, the caveat with that is that you don't want to keep it fresh in the fridge for like more than, depending on what kind, more than a certain amount of days. So like red meat is typically about 3 to 4 days. White meat is about 3 days. The puppy sees something. For those of you that are listening, Tobi's got some beautiful dogs, but they're loud. And the mic that he has, we're trying to figure out the settings, but it's just catching everything around him. So he's muting himself right now. And then going along with what I was saying is like fish, things like that. I would say probably about like 2 to 3 days. I don't want to fuck with that too much. But
No.
Yeah,
Fish out of the like the second you interrupt like the cooling chain on seafood.
Yeah. Only like 2 days. I thought you were gonna finish that. You like paused. I was like, "Are you?"
No, I was speaking for the people who can see. I was like raising my eyes. It's like, oh.
Most people are not watching the video. Remember that. I mean, guys, if you're watching Spotify, we have the video up. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see us. But most people are probably listening while doing like chores and all that stuff too. But no, like you don't want to mess with that. But also, I don't want to be spending time, like let's say going to the grocery store again because I only bought so much for a couple days, or spending more time during the week to cook more. So what I do is we cook enough protein for the whole week. When I was even busier and even more on a budget, I would cook everything. Like if I bought big old packets, like at Costco, you could buy like huge packets of chicken, huge packets of like ground turkey, like all these different types of protein. And we would just cook it all. And then from there, we would just put enough in the containers for the certain amount of days that we wanted to have it out. So for example, ground beef, we would have enough for about like 3 to 4 days in there. For the chicken, about 3 days. For the fish, about like 1 to 2 days. And the rest of them went into containers or Ziploc bags, or if you got like those, what are the air vacuum bags? You can also do those too. We used that briefly for a while.
Oh, yeah, those like vacuum sealed.
Yes, vacuum seal bags. Yes, 100%. And so with that being said, we use that and we just put it in the deep freezer. And so throughout the week, when we went out with something, we just put it in the fridge and let it like defrost in there. And then we'd have enough meat that was already prepared, seasoned, cooked. And we just had to like either saute it, put it in an air fryer, or even nuke it for a little bit. And it was ready. So that's another tip right there, is like go to Sam's Club, go to Costco, buy things in bulk. If you're missing room, you're like, hey, like I can't get all these frozen things. I can't bulk prep like you're talking to me about because I don't have a lot of room. Get a deep freezer. That's like, I swear to goodness, is probably one of the biggest tips I will give you, is get a deep freezer so you can take advantage of bulk shopping and frozen fruits and vegetables. And I know a lot of you guys that live in the city. I now live in the city too. Still worth it. Still go get one. If you're like, hey, but that's money, I'm trying to learn how to budget. You've no clue how many times somebody buys a deep freezer and either brings it to Goodwill or puts it on Facebook Marketplace, and you can buy it for super cheap.
The pawn shop?
The pawn shop? Yeah, like there's so many opportunities you can grab at. Like just like, also if you're like, hey, like I want a crock pot, I want all these different things, but I don't have the money. I was so freaking poor. I like had nothing. You know what I went to? I went to Goodwill. You have no clue how many times. I still have a frying pan that I looked up online and it was over $200 worth. And I got it for $15 and it was barely even used. There's like toasters there that like aren't used. There's like air fryers now that people barely even use either. Like, just go to those places. You will be surprised on the quality of stuff that you will get on a budget there. You can also go to Facebook Marketplace as well. You can find things that people maybe bought something and they had a better version and they can't return it because they don't have the gift receipt. So they're just selling it on Facebook Marketplace for just whatever somebody would give them so they can get rid of it. Right? Like, there's so many opportunities that you can grab at.
Yeah, and the small ones at like hardware store, like Home Depot or Menards, are actually pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And
how much is it? I haven't looked in a while.
oh, I don't know. We got lucky. When we got our house, a deep freezer with a bunch of ground beef in it was our housewarming gift from Rachel's parents.
Well, that's the best gift.
It lasted us ever.
Yeah. That's
right.
awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so here's another tip. Okay, so this is specifically for like how do you get more lean protein on a budget. So we're talking about like make sure that you're buying it in bulk. Okay, you can get at cheaper cuts like the boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can also find lean cuts of like red meat. Like I have round all these different things. They're cheaper because they're not necessarily super tasty because they're so lean when you just like grill them or something like that. But you can do like Instapot pot roasts, like chilies with them. You can do like barbacoa recipes with them too. And you can buy them in bulk in Costco too. It makes it super, super affordable. But also you can do, like going back to what we were saying before, not just canned fruits and vegetables, but you can do canned meat. So for example, salmon, I'm trying to get more omega-3s in my diet. And one of the best ways is just to get it from like wild caught fish. It's probably one of the most well-known ones, but there's also sardines, mackerel, and things like that. Well, you go to Costco and you get like you look at the pricing for a salmon in bulk, it can be pretty pricey, right? But what we do instead is do the canned salmon. And it's wild caught, it's canned salmon. I'll be 1,000% transparent and say it doesn't smell good coming out of the can, but we drain it and we make a salmon salad when we do it. So we do, I'm lactose free, so I do lactose free Greek yogurt. I'll mix that through that with that. I'll put sriracha sauce, and then there's like a Japanese sauce that we do, and there we'll mix it all up. Sometimes sprinkle some like fresh green onions in there. We'll slice that up and put that in there. And then we'll make like a salmon bowl, whether it's like white rice or quinoa or brown rice, whatever grain that we're making that week. And then I'll do sliced up cucumbers, like carrots, a little bit of like, we'll get edamame, and we'll do like, we'll thaw it out. We buy it frozen and we thaw it out. We put it on there, and then we put a little bit more of that Japanese sauce on top of it. And it's so good. It's so good. And that's just like a very affordable way to help you get, more in there. And those canned salmons, there's so many servings in one can. It makes it very affordable. We also do canned chicken too. We do a canned chicken salad right now, and it's just like canned chicken salad with Greek yogurt. We have some sliced grapes, celery, green onion. Like we used to do light eggs. No, we don't put eggs in there. We used to do light mayo in there, but then my stomach decided to say fuck you, so we're going completely dairy free and taking it completely out. Before I used to be able to tolerate just a little bit, but now I swear as I get older my stomach's get way more like finicky, if that's a word.
Another great alternative to like meat, or in terms of lean protein, is anything that you plan on buying. It's like compare it to per 100 grams, like a little carton of egg whites.
Ooh,
it's like three, I don't know, I think the last time I went grocery shopping it's like $3.19. Right? So that's 100 grams. 100 grams is equivalent to 1 pound of meat, right? So if you get chicken breast, it's like usually, I don't know, like $5.99 a pound ish. If you don't buy it at Costco, if you don't buy it bulk, it's like $5.99 a pound. So it's almost twice as much as the little carton of egg whites, right? So don't feel forced to put yourself into this picture of my meal needs to look a certain way, right? Yeah. Like if your body can stomach eggs, egg whites are phenomenal.
No, and buy it in bulk in Costco, and you can save even more. My gosh, I tell every single one of my clients, I'm going to convert you to a Costco fiend. Like I love Costco so much.
Yes, it's certain stores send out coupons all the time. It's like our Cashway sends out bunch, right? Where it's like, hey, normally when I go to, I don't know what other grocery store, Hornbacher's is like our version of like Trader Joe's. We don't get Trader Joe's up in the north. But it's like their frozen counter or their fresh food counter is a little bit spendier. But then you get the little coupon at Cashwise where it's like, hey, our salmon is like $8.99. instead of $17.99, right? So it's like just shopping around, right? It's, you don't have to force yourself to get everything from the same place.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, you guys go to the farmer's market. For me, just to get downtown is a 25-minute drive, right?
Yeah,
So
but the farmer's market is literally a 10-minute walk from us.
Yeah, so for us, it's like 50 minutes of just like back and forth. So now I'm spending an hour to save like 10 cents on a pound of bananas, right? So it's like for me, that doesn't make sense. Again, right? If I'm auditing my time and my budget.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So again, if it applies to you, if you live in the city, if you have something that's close to you, you look at the prices and it's cheaper, go after that. I think the big thing is just, again, be the CEO of your health. Look at the options in front of you, figure out what works best for you. I think so many people are like, well, that doesn't work for me. So I'm just frustrated. And it's like, why don't you just keep looking for what does work best for you? I don't know. Like, I just a little tidbit right there. But
no,
here's another one is let's go one more on the protein side of things. And then we'll go into a few more things with that. And I do have like a non-conventional way of saving some money that I just learned about and we use all the time now.
I have 2 or 3 good ones.
Ooh, okay, cool. But in terms of getting more protein in there, like you said briefly before, it doesn't have to be like meat protein. Okay. So like cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. Like I said before, like Fairlife milk has like 10 to 15 grams of protein in 1 cup. You can add that to your coffee and easily add that in there. You can add a protein scoop like we were talking about before. But another one is leveraging things like beans and lentils. Beans and lentils are extremely affordable. And they have a ton of protein in there. And they also have a ton of fiber, a bunch of nutrients that your body needs as well. Like we went to, I can't remember where we went to. I think Sprouts. And they had like a lentil pasta. I just bought the store brand. I didn't buy like one of the like Bonza things. I did the store brand. And that box had like 5 servings in it. 1 serving had 20 grams of protein. That box was $1.29. You add that in with some, like, I don't know, canned chicken and some pasta sauce. And that's like a ton of fiber, a ton of protein, a ton of nutrients. And it's more than likely extremely active.
Now, in that context, I don't like lentil or chickpea pasta just because of texture.
Yeah, hit and miss. Some people love it, some people don't.
But exactly that same meal, you just get a bag of red lentils, you soak them, you blend them up to make like a, I don't know, puree out of it, and you mix it with your pasta sauce.
I've seen that before.
Exact same outcome.
Good.
Exact same outcome. You get the exact same amount of protein. You put a little bit of like grilled chicken, canned chicken over it, and your meal now has 75 grams of protein for
a ton of fiber. Yeah.
Pasta.
Yeah. Let's go into so we went over fruits and vegetables. We went over lean protein, but like people still need like whole grains and also like healthy fats. Okay. So with the healthy fats, pretty simple. Like I said before, the Costco one, the almond butter and the nut butter is pretty affordable when you go there. But like oils, like extra virgin olive oil, super cheap. Super cheap. You can even buy like a huge thing that will last you for like 3 years for the same price of what you would get for a smaller bottle, like a grocery store near you. Like actually, Calvin and I bought a bottle at our grocery store near us that was in the middle downtown. And we went to Costco and we saw it was the exact same price, but the bottle was like 10 times. It was like one of those big mamma jammas, like one of those gallon ones. And we're like, what the fuck do we do, man? But also, I mean, avocados are fairly affordable depending on the season and where you're at, but don't need to feel like you have to do organic on that. Nuts and seeds tend to be affordable. Flax seeds, chia seeds, you can get them at Costco for extremely cheap in bags. Like that's where we get our flax seeds. But like when you go to Trader Joe's, you can find Trader Joe's. I find Trader Joe's and things like Aldi's tend to be way more affordable than if you're trying to buy healthy. I like even Hy-Vee. I don't like shopping at Hy-Vee. I don't like shopping at Target because I feel like a lot of it is really overpriced.
I like to go there because of Hai Chai.
Hai Chai, yeah. I feel that. Every single time I walk by, I'm not eating it because like my stupid stomach, but like it smells good. I can smell it. But yeah, like but places like Target, even Walmart sometimes I feel like it just depends, but it can be a little bit more priced, like on the quote unquote healthier section, the health section where Trader Joe's. That's annoying. Sorry if you're not watching the video. I just did something with my hands. I'm a very animated person. And then like a bunch of balloons. I don't know if you've seen that update on videos. It even happens on Instagram stories now. It happened to me on an Instagram story too. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, the healthier foods that you'd find that are extremely overpriced at like Whole Foods, or you go to like the health section of like a Hy-Vee or a Target or a Kroger store, and it's way more overpriced. But you go to Trader Joe's and it's like not overpriced at all. So you can get those quote unquote healthier options for a lot cheaper. But you can do that, nuts and seeds, flax seeds, all that stuff. You can add that to smoothies, blend it up. You can add it to Greek yogurt bowls, overnight oats, things like that. And then for like grain, so there's so many different grains. Carbohydrates are really great for you, and there's a lot of grains that are really great for long-term energy. They give you a lot of fiber, a lot of nutrients that your body needs, especially as an active person. If you like to be active, if you really want to work on, I don't know, running a little bit more, pushing in the gym a little bit more, getting stronger, building muscle, it makes your muscles go. It's your brain and your muscles preferred fuel source. So it can be really, really helpful. So things like oats, very active, brown rice, quinoa, like Calvin and I are on a quinoa kick. We bought that in bulk, and that thing was very inexpensive. I think it was like $8 for a big old bag, and it's lasted us for like 4 months, and we use it every single week.
I joked in college that if I had to get a new profession, I would become a quinoa farmer.
What? How did that come up?
It's because you don't need a ton to sustain on quinoa. Like quinoa per serving it's not a ton of food, but it is so cheap.
Oats is too. You can get white rice in these big old bags. Like it's super helpful. There's a ton of different nutrients out there, like grains that you can do, whether you are gluten-free or not. Like I'm gluten-free. I can do quinoa, I can do oats, I can do millet, I can do all these different things. White rice, brown rice, all these different things that you can do. You can do wild rice. You can do like, there's one called forbidden rice, which is like black. Have you ever heard of forbidden rice?
No, but it sounds like something that we shouldn't be talking about on a public platform.
No, it's not. Oh, come on. No, it's so forbidden rice. The reason why they have that name is because I can't remember which country it is. I think it's China or something. It's some Asian culture. I apologize for not remembering, but they called it forbidden rice because the rice is completely black. And it's known for a lot of nutrients in it. And then back in the olden days, it was only for royalty. Only royalty could afford that. So it was forbidden for everybody else. So that's why it's called forbidden rice. We found it at a local poke shop that's right across the street from our favorite coffee shop. And I was like, what the frick is that? Google, why is this called forbidden rice? And so that's what I learned. But yeah, there's so many different options there. Okay, so like, here is, let's give people before we let them go. Let's give them, don't you have 2 more tips?
Yeah, like unconventional things.
Yeah, unconventional. Let's go into that.
There are websites, services out there that make falling on a budget easy. There are some apps out there that allow you to take a picture of the foods that you have in your fridge, in your pantry, and it'll give you recipes based on that. So now you get recipes that you don't even have to go grocery shopping for. So you're being a little bit, you're reducing your food waste, right? It's easier for you to use your leftovers. That's why I said earlier, proper storage. Make sure that when you're storing food, that it's a proper container so that your food doesn't go to waste in the fridge, because otherwise you have to buy it more often.
Or it tastes like crap and you don't want to eat it.
And then you throw it away, and then you go get takeout anyway. But there are other services that will take the produce that you would normally get in a grocery store, and it's like the not fit for the grocery store display kind of produce, like that doesn't just look very pretty, but it's
the misfit.
Oh, that's what it's called.
That's it. Yeah, the misfit. Yeah, I've seen that. That's so cool.
Yes, and it gives, it's like per serving is actually way cheaper. Right? So now a lot of people think it's like, oh my God, it's convenience. But it is cheaper, even though it's convenient and it saves you time.
Yeah, it's just because it doesn't look pretty, but it's still very, very useful. Yeah.
The next thing is things like community resources. If you just don't know what's around you, Facebook groups are phenomenal.
Hell yeah.
So for us, for example, we have like, I don't know, multiple tens of thousands of users in the Fargo Moorhead Facebook group just for the area. And if you just put a question in there, it's like, hey, I need some advice on where to find cheap things. Promise you are not the only person with that struggle. So don't be embarrassed that you're trying to save money. It's a perfectly normal thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you ask in there, I guarantee you're going to get a handful of answers, sometimes even a ton. Right? People in there are super responsive, they're super supportive. And there are also some in there. I just saw one this morning where there was a lady, she said, hey, I had some issues with my parents, so I just moved out. So if anybody has like canned goods or something, I would really appreciate that. The support was overwhelming. It's like, we have a couch, we have a chair, we have like a mini fridge, we have all of these things that people were just given away, right? So you're asking a question. You can even post anonymously if you feel embarrassed, and there's now 50,000 people that see it.
Yeah.
Right? The chance that just one person knows something that is helpful to you is so high.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know a lot of people are like, I would never do that. I'd be too scared. I'd be too embarrassed. It's like, okay, if somebody else posted that and you helped out, would you be judging them? Would you think any different than them? Mm-hmm. Would you feel like they should feel ashamed or anything like that? Do you feel like that would define them? If the answer is no, love you to death, but you ain't that special. Same thing applies to you. Like, community is everything. It's supposed to be there. I don't know why Western culture here is so damn independent and like a lone wolf. Community is meant there for a reason. And everybody's like, I want to be a part of this community. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, you get what you put in. If you want to be a part of the community and help other people out, you got to also give the opportunity for other people to do the same for you. Right? It's super, super helpful. Do you have any more? Well, we got a Barkerton, so I'll go with mine really fast so that we can get to it. But okay, here are mine. Instacart or pickup. Okay, going back to having a list, having a plan, even when you have a list and a plan, because there's so many times I walk into like Costco or Whole Foods or like, I don't really shop at Whole Foods much anymore, but like Trader Joe's and things like
Whole
that.
Whole Foods is expensive.
It is, yeah. Whole Foods is more like, for me now, I used to shop out there a lot only because it was really close to me when I lived in Arizona, but now it's nowhere near me. It's like a 25-minute drive, so we never really go there anymore. But like, even when I go grocery shopping, we can go in with a list. But even then, my ADHD brain's like, I want to try this. Ooh, it's a new energy drink. I'm going to buy this for tomorrow. I want to try that out. So Instacart or just pick up, like where you just like order it and you can go to the parking lot and pick it up, will prevent that. The amount of money that we save when we do that alone is phenomenal. Like, I remember last weekend, I had to go. Yeah. Like, I get like I use the pharmacy at Costco. So when I have to go pick something up, we're just like, we're here. So we might as well use this instead of getting Instacart. But every single time we do that, we regret it because we buy more than what we need to. Both Calvin and I were like, ooh, this, ooh, that, ooh. And like buy it. Like we're so good. We only have 3 more things than we were supposed to buy this week.
$300 bill.
Yeah. Exactly. And so it helps out so much. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, but Instacart costs a lot of money, delivery, all the different things. Okay. So here's my honor to that. One, cool. If you have a grocery store that's right down the street from you, like Walmart or a Target or something like that, do that. But where I live, we don't. We have a grocery store that's in the downtown market near us. It's a little bit more expensive because it's right smack dab in the middle of downtown. And Target, Walmart, all these different grocery stores, Costco is about 25-minute drive, 15 to 25-minute drive from us. So that's not convenient for us specifically. Yeah. But if you're living near somewhere you don't need to necessarily do Instacart, you can just do the pickup and you don't have to pay that delivery. But here's the thing that I've learned. Certain credit cards will allow you to have free membership to Instacart. I know for a fact Chase does. Mm-hmm. And just about everybody has credit cards. So look for a credit card that has those awesome benefits to it, like free Netflix or things like that. Like my T-Mobile membership gives me free Netflix.
Yep. Now that we're there's certain credit cards that give you a monthly allowance for Uber Eats or DoorDash.
Exactly. Right. And so even with that, like the Instacart, going back to if you prepare all of your food at home, you're going to save a significant amount of money. But there's people that are like, hey, like I traveled and I don't have time to go to the grocery store, or my kids got sick, I can't go to the grocery store. So you end up doing DoorDash or pick a takeout or something like that. Instacart is still going to be significantly cheaper than you doing all those things. So it doesn't have to be an everyday thing, but use it as a backup because it's going to be a better option than going out to eat again. And even then, when you have a credit card that covers the Instacart, or even not, like think about how much time that costs you, how much gas that costs you in the long run. Like Calvin and I did the math where we signed up during a promo for Instacart. This is before we knew Chase covered our Instacart membership. Okay. We signed up with the promo and we did the math, the amount of gas that we spend. We also spend about anywhere from 3 to 4 hours because, again, it's a long drive to where we have to go. We're not right next to those things. It's a long drive. Spends about 3 to 4 hours of what we have to do. Then we have to come home, put everything away, cook, clean, everything. That's our whole day that we could be spending running errands, doing things that we want to be doing, actually sing. So that way next week we can do things or like paddle boarding or like running or hiking, whatever we actually want to do. It saves us so much time and money in the long run, even if it didn't cover our Instacart expenses. The amount of peace of mind, like Calvin and I are like, how did we not do this before? Like it's mind blowing. So again, something to consider. I have a lot of clients that pick up their groceries instead. I have some people that are like, I like going to the grocery store. I get my steppies in. That's perfectly fine. Like do that. But if you're somebody that's like Toby's like, no steppies. I don't want to be around people. People are hard.
In arguments at grocery stores.
You are a little bit of a troublemaker.
So I'm confrontational. It's
yes,
I can't bite my tongue, right? So it's like I'm already not allowed to go by myself to Costco.
I'm not allowed to go to Costco by myself because I'll be there forever. Ooh, look at this. But yeah, it's again, take what you will, take it with a grain of salt. Maybe it'll apply to you or not. But these are a lot of tips that help not only Toby and I, but a lot of our clients. But I think another one is going to be, and this is actually when we take a zoom out and do the math for some of my clients, this actually save them a lot of money, is meal prep services. Mm-hmm. Especially those that travel a lot. I have a lot of clients that travel a lot or on the go a lot, especially during the summer with their kids on the road, sports and everything like that. And while they're on the road, they're ending up eating out a lot or doing Uber Eats or going to the local like salad place really fast. And we did the math and it was significantly more money than just simply buying meal prep and having meals for the weekends that they're out, or for the time when they come back in, they notice that they can't get to the grocery store, so they eat out frequently. And so they're spending way more money. So it's like, it's kind of very similar to the coffee that we're talking about. Yeah, I could buy that, but there was a lot of friction. And because of that friction, it caused me to my actions to actually spend more money in the long run. So is there a happy medium that I can do that actually saves me more money in the long run? So a meal prep services may be that. When you compare getting meal prep in comparison to something like getting Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or things like that, it's actually significantly cheaper for some of the brands that you're using. Like take it for a grain of salt, see if it does help you save more money. And it doesn't have to be a staple. It can be like an oopsie stash, I call it. Have it in your back pocket for those times where you are like, oopsie, I don't have food. Oopsie, I'm traveling. Oopsie, like I'm lazy and I just I want to like DoorDash something, but I've got meal prep in my freezer. I'm just going to go grab that instead. So that way I save money. That can be helpful. So do you have any more, Toby? Is the dog still barking?
She's like barking on and off. She barks at, she thinks ever since our house got entered into against our will, it's
broken into.
Yeah, it's anyone that's like at the other end of the block, or we live next to like a man-made kind of pond, and in the summer it's just a super popular walking path, so it doesn't even have to be a dog. It's just like if they see a person, they're like, there's someone there that doesn't belong here, like somebody there that's not mom and dad. So They bark all the
Yeah.
time.
It's all good. They're cute. They're adorable. But yeah, those are our tips for how to eat healthy on a budget. We hope that this helps. But just like we were talking about before with helping with community, if you can think of anything that we didn't talk about, please don't keep that to yourself. Please share. Put it in the comments below. Let us know, DM us, because we're more than happy, because we help a lot of people with this question. So if we're unaware of something that you know is a game changer, please tell us, because then we can help our clients do that. But share that with us. And then also, if you find that this podcast episode was super helpful, feel free to share this on your story. Feel free to share it to the friends that are balling on a budget too. So that way we can help as many people as possible. Like, our big goal is just to get that good information out there, help people become the CEO of their health. And there's a lot of people that are balling on a budget, right? No shame in our game. I mean, we've all been in those situations, and we more than likely at times will get back into those situations. So knowing these things are going to be super helpful. So just help us with our mission, share that the word. And
even if you're not balling on a budget, who doesn't like to save some money?
Yeah, you can spend some money on things that you actually want to spend money on, right?
Yeah, like yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
like traveling.
Yeah, I was about to say vacation.
Vacay. I don't need vacation right now. Anyways, we love you. We appreciate you guys. Until next week.
Peace. Bye.